Hi, my name is Doug Schneider and I founded the SoundStage network, or just SoundStage, in 1995, so a little over 25 years ago. Before that, I was a consumer for a little over 15 years. From that, I have over 40 years of combined experience as a consumer, then a professional reviewer, and also running SoundStage, knowing what our dozens of writers have had to say about various types of audio equipment over all these years. So with this new video series I'm calling Real Hi-Fi, I want to take 40 years of combined knowledge as a consumer, enthusiast, audiophile, professional reviewer, and someone who has seen firsthand everything our writers have written, said, and observed about audio equipment over all these years, to you, to help you make better buying decisions. In this first episode of Real Hi-Fi, I want to talk to those people who are looking to buy their first hi-fi system, but don't know how much to spend, but they want to get something really good and not waste their money. And I'm going to give you a dollar figure, but I'm going to tell you this. You can spend less on a hi-fi system and maybe get something pretty good, but you can also get something pretty lousy. Something that won't last you that many years, that you won't love that much, that you can't grow with. But if you spend $1,200 and shop wisely, you can get a great hi-fi system that suits you now, will suit you for many years down the road, and if you want to get more into the hi-fi world, you can grow with. So with that $1,200, you have options today that I couldn't have imagined 40 years ago. But what I want to describe for you as an example is what I call a traditional hi-fi system, something that's as popular today as it was decades ago. So we're talking about a source component or components, amplification, loudspeakers. Source component. Vinyl today is more popular than it's been in years. Spinning records is what I'm talking about. A turntable. Many people still have large CD collections in their homes. A compact disc player. Other people like to stream from streaming services such as Spotify, Qobuz, whatever. So a streaming digital to analog converter, or DAC. Amplification. This is kind of the centerpiece to your system, and at this price point you're going to look at an integrated amplifier. And an integrated amplifier has the power amplifier section built in to drive your loudspeakers. It has preamp functionality for volume control, input selection, that sort of thing. Many today, because vinyl is so popular, have a phonostage built in, which is required to connect your turntable to if it doesn't have its own phonostage built in. Some of them have digital to analog converters built in with streaming capability so that you don't have to buy an external one. Loudspeakers. At this price point, you might be able to get tower speakers, in other words, big ones that stand right down to the floor, but more than likely we're talking about bookshelf or stand mount speakers. Two names for the same sort of thing. Small speakers that go on a bookshelf or a stand, and for the budget we're talking about, you can get really good ones. Okay, so how are you going to take this $1,200 budget I laid out for you and divide it among the three component types? Simple. 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Just like photography, rule of thirds. This is the hi-fi rule of thirds with a little bit of margin built in there. So let's say, for example, you find a turntable that you like for $300 or $350. Well, you might want to apply that $100 or $50 to the integrated amplifier you get, or to the loudspeakers, or both, some sort of mix between them. Likewise, you might find a great pair of $300 speakers, and then slide a little bit of that money up front in your system. The real key is roughly 1/3 on each. That simple. So what you haven't heard me talk at all about yet are speaker cables, interconnects, and stands. And the reason I haven't talked about them yet is because just like a skier getting on the slopes, they're not going to the Olympics quite yet. You want to get the basics right. You want to get those hi-fi components that are the main components of your system the best they can be. Now, in terms of cables to connect them up and stands, they're important, but you can find them brand new, particularly online, and you can find great products that are in the tens of dollars, not hundreds of dollars, tens of dollars. And this is what I recommend you look at. Good, basic interconnects, speaker cables, and stands, nothing lavish, go with that. So I want to finish this off by telling you why I don't only believe that $1,200 is a reasonable price to pay for a hi-fi system, it's actually a steal. In 1979, I was 15 years old, and I was the kind of kid who was an avid shopper and researcher. I read all the magazines, went to all the stores, and I researched my hi-fi system for like 6 months. So it was 1980 before I bought it, and I was 16 years old. And what I settled on was a Bang & Olufsen 1700 turntable, an NAD 3140 integrated amplifier, and a pair of PSB Avante 2 loudspeakers. Now, if memory serves me right, all the products were under $500, and the turntable was the most expensive. The speakers were the least expensive. But when all was said and done, and speaker cables and interconnects were added and some inexpensive speaker stands, $1,275 is what I paid. Now think about that for a second. That's $1,980. I'm not adjusting for inflation here. Think about what movie tickets, food, cars, homes cost in 1980 versus now. That system should be thousands of dollars today. But hi-fi hasn't risen in price like that. If you spend $1,200 on a system today, you'll have something better than I had in 1980, and that makes it a steal.